you, beautiful?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to see you.
Oh, it's been a while.
It has been. What time is it down in South Africa right now?
6 p.m. in the evening.
6 p.m. Oh, so you're having a nice evening. I'm not waking you up at some awful o'clock in the
No,
morning.
no, no. Mhm.
So,
It's so
ladies and all gentlemen, and all of our beautiful viewers, this is one of my favorite people in the world, the beautiful Riana Mooi. She is our Mrs. Globe 2015. And as we get started, I'm just going to start asking. Oh my gosh, Rihanna, I don't know if you can see all the hearts that are going off right now. But miss you so much, Rihanna, says Dr. Jenny Hansen. Can you
oh,
see the responses, or is that only on my side?
my eyes are a little bit bad, so you're gonna have to read
Oh,
them out.
okay. Hello, Rihanna from Ekaterina. Oh, well, Mrs. Alaska says sexy lady.
Oh, thank you.
Looking beautiful as always. So a lot of your Globet fans are showing up, and we're really excited that you're here. So, looking beautiful, gorgeous Rihanna, yada 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 yada. Not to brush that off. I mean, that's a great compliment. But we have so many other things to talk about. So, first off, is how are you doing with the quarantine?
Yeah, I think fundamentally the whole world has changed. We've had to adapt to a new way of living in a very short space of time, as you might know. We are ending our lockdown here in South Africa. Well, not ending, but easing off. They've defined different levels for us. So we're going from a level 5 to level 4, with still lots of restrictions in place. So yeah, everybody's still, kind of quarantined and working remotely from home. I've been very busy with work. So I haven't minded much. We've been enjoying the time.
That's great. Now, Rihanna, why don't we do this? Let me just or we can just tell a little bit about your story, and then we can get to open questions because I really want all of our viewers, to know just what a life inspiration that you are.
I think,
And, and what I mean by that is, if anybody had the excuse to give up in life, you have the excuse, and you would have people look at you and say, yeah, but do you understand what she has survived? Of course, she ended up
mm,
on this path, and you didn't.
yeah.
And you just stood up and fought for your life by the
Mm,
grace of God, literally. And the way that your story has unfolded, of course, it's going to be shared in your book, in spite of.
hmm
So let's start really quickly with the fact that when you arrived at Mrs. Globe, you
hmm
weren't supposed to be there
Yeah.
because you didn't win Mrs. South Africa. You were first runner-up. And how long before the actual contest did you realize you were coming?
5 days. I had 5 days to literally.
I'm crying because I'm so happy to see you. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so 5 days to prepare. I think I walked into my manager's office and I said, I'm going to China. And he said, when? And I said, that was Thursday. And I said, Tuesday. And he said, you're kidding. I said, no, I'm not. And so it was literally just to get my visa, pack my bags, and I didn't even have an opportunity to check out the competition, all the other delegates. I knew absolutely nothing about Mrs. Globe. So for me, it was, just filled with so much excitement and just such a wonderful opportunity for me to represent my country. And I think that for me was just, uppermost, just to go out there and just be a representation of who I am and just to represent my country.
And I know that you've done it before, but do you want to send a quick shout out to all those people who literally in that 11th hour just helped
Yeah.
you throw everything together from your gown to your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, I was just so grateful to God for the opportunity. But Michael Bezuidenhout is one of the most respected fashion designers in South Africa, and just stepped up and just forwarded me the most beautiful gown to wear. He made it in a matter of a few days, chose the color for me. And then there was, another amazing woman, Gada Duplessis, who came into my life and just offered to do my makeup and to assist me. And so many other people, so many friends and family that just rallied, around me, just to offer such support and just encouragement. And I think it just meant so much to me knowing that I had, so many people rooting for me. I had absolutely no expectation to arrive in China and to compete and to win. Absolutely nothing. Um,
And so fast forward, and I'm doing this only because we're limited on time. And fast forward, you arrive in China. You have no expectations. Your head's still kind of spinning between the jet lag and understanding. I'm at Mrs. Globe, and then
yeah.
you meet Mrs. Singapore.
Yep. I just spoke 2 minutes ago. Yeah, we were just talking about, we started this friendship 5.5 almost years ago, meeting at Mrs. Globe, and she said to me, after I won Mrs. Globe, she said, "You'll forget about me." And I said, "Never." I said, "I've found a true friend in you." And we were just talking about, we've reconnected over the years so many times, a few years in China, once in Bali. And then she came out to South Africa last year. So we've been able to stay in touch, and we've remained, very good friends. And she's become very dear to me.
Globettes for life. Now,
Yeah.
let me just give you an unfolding. So the entire week is happening, and it was a very beautiful year at Mrs. Globe. And I have been doing this for 25 years. And when you won, you had a reaction. And keep in mind that I don't know my Mrs. Globes, or
Yeah.
really the only delegates that I kind of know, and I say kind of are the USA delegates, but even we're separated by a plane ride. So I get there. I don't know you from Adam. The night unfolds. You're stepping forward and forward and forward. And at the end, and I happen to be hosting that night, so this is why it's so clear to me, is I announce it, and we say, and the new Mrs. Globe is South Africa.
Mhm.
The
And I,
audience goes crazy, and Rihanna is still.
yeah.
Very little emotions. I I take pause. I
Mhm.
was over to the side. I walk up to you on stage. I touch you lightly. I said to the microphone, "Mrs. South Africa, you just won Mrs. Globe." And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, these slight tears started to
Mhm.
come down your face. Share with
Yeah.
our viewing audience that I learned several months later when I asked you, Rihanna, what was happening during that moment? Because I've never seen a response like that. Share with
Yeah.
our audience what happened.
It was just such an amazing moment for me. I had to believe that it was just God's plan and purpose for my life unfolding, and that, I won first runner-up Mrs. South Africa. It was almost like he was saying, "Let me see what you do with this. Let me see what you do with this title that I give you as a first runner-up, and then I'll bless you with more." And in that moment, it was God choosing me. I think it must have been 60 countries that were there. It was God saying, "I choose you to wear this crown," and I just couldn't believe. It was just such a wonderful honor and such a privilege for me to be crowned that night. I cannot tell you the
And
emotions.
why don't you tell them about the person and the years of history as to who showed up on that stage and what you endured to get there?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in a very dysfunctional home, growing up with physical abuse, emotional abuse, and eventually a mom who committed suicide at the age of 13 because she just couldn't take the abuse anymore. I was a young girl, growing up into a broken young adult, never really healing, um, and always feeling so unworthy and feeling so unloved and so abandoned, and so for many years, I've drawn closer to God, trying to heal from the abuse. I think it's only been probably a few years now that I can say that my healing journey has really only begun. So, showing up on that stage, wanting, yes, I think every woman that was standing on that stage, every delegate wanted to win that title, including me. I wasn't going to allow it to define me, but most certainly I was there to compete. And the fact that God had chosen me over 60 other countries, it was just a moment in time for me that I'll never ever forget.
Such an amazing moment because, I'm going to fill in some of the blanks, and the rest you can get in her book called In Spite of.
Mhm.
Um, and that at that moment, it was as though, even with your earthly parents, where you're given the message, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not going to amount to anything, you're not beautiful, you're not. It
Yeah.
was like God, the universe, just
Mm.
um, overran that and said, "Yeah, that's you, but I get the final say."
Absolutely.
And to promote that wounded little girl, to say, somebody might not even want you at the dinner table, but I want you on the stage of life,
Mm.
as a mentor, as a leader, as an inspiration. And this is just, like I said, one of my most favorite women in the world. And I wish all of you have the chance to meet her someday, hear her speak. If you ever have the opportunity to attend one of her speaking engagements, you will not leave the same person. So if any
Oh,
of you have some questions for Rihanna, we have lots of people saying, amazing, amazing, amazing. I'll open it back up. But in the meantime, Rihanna, since winning Mrs. Globe,
yeah.
you have been up to a lot with your education and your career. Share a little bit about what's going on um, with you outside of Mrs. Globe.
So, I mean, I'm a risk practitioner. For those who don't know, I work for one of South Africa's big four banks. And so, in my spare time, the little that I do have, I still try and do community work when I can. I'm fortunate to work for a wonderful organization that invests in a lot of community projects that I can partner with. I've since finished my honors degree, and I'm hoping to enroll for my master's next year. And I've also just finished a professional certificate in coaching through Henley Business School. So that's also allowed me the opportunity to do a lot of coaching. I still do a lot of mentoring of young women, young girls. And then also just being invited to be a motivational speaker. My philosophy has always been to use my life and my testimony to inspire, to encourage, to motivate women, and to give others hope. And so I still do a lot of those, and I'm grateful for when I'm invited to speak.
Yeah, and if any of you want to know how to reach Rihanna, of course, she's on all sorts of social media, but you can always contact the Mrs. Globe organization because we always know where to find her. I have a question that just came in, Rihanna,
Mhm.
and it asked, Rihanna, are you coming to Mrs. Globe 2021?
Um, we'll put it on the calendar and we can plan on it and see how the schedule works. But I'd love to come back. I've been back a few times after. I was fortunate enough to be part of the judging panel, and yeah, it'll be a wonderful opportunity.
Well, I wouldn't want to sit in your judge. Okay, another question. Mindset is a big key in performance. Do you believe that your mindset going into the Mrs. Globe pageant was different than it might have been if you were given much more time to prepare? Oh, that's good.
Mm. Probably. I think I would have been a lot more anxious. Um, and I think I was very at peace, not knowing, I mean, the delegates I competed against were absolutely beautiful women, not just externally, but physically beautiful and internally as well.
Yeah, it was kind of a spiritual group that year. That was neat.
I mean, it sounds very cliche, but every single year there's such beautiful women that come and compete at this competition, um, and I think everything worked out the way it had to. I wouldn't change anything about it, and I think yes, if I had a different mindset, given a lot more time to prepare, I think I would have been a lot more anxious. So I'm grateful that it was just 5 days, and I was busy in that time. I didn't have a lot of
10
time.
days. Oh, 5 days to get there. I'm like,
5,
this is almost
yeah,
10 days. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
But by the time you get there, there's no time to think about anything. I mean, that would be one piece of advice that I would give all of our followers if you're thinking about coming to the world stage of Mrs. Globe, or if you get to the world stage of Mrs. Globe, you don't have time to think. That all
Yeah.
of your thinking needs to be done in advance, because when you get there, between the jet lag and the busy schedule, and it's not a
Yeah.
vacation. It's you're competing for the title of Mrs. Globe, a huge brand
Mhm.
manager and influencer for women. Okay, from Audrey in Singapore, what is the most important tip for delegates who will be competing in the Mrs. Globe crown? Hashtag how to get the coveted MG crown.
I remember so fondly the day you walked into the ballroom showing us the Mrs. Globe crown, and you said each and every year, you know, delegates come out and compete, and she always reveals herself, and I think we all stood there kind of wondering, how does Mrs. Globe reveal herself? That eventually on the night of the crowning, the judging panel know exactly who is deserving of this most exquisite crown. Um, I think for me, advice would be just to remain authentic, remain who you are. Don't change for anybody. Um, just let your authenticity shine through. And I think that's what I did. And it certainly worked for me. And so I know it will work for you.
Okay, I'm going to tell a funny Mrs. Globe story that actually, if Audrey was on, Audrey would be telling this. So the reason I mentioned Audrey is I think one of the things that you, as I said before, is that you don't have time to think. And
Yeah.
as Rihanna was really on that thing of not even being able to think, um, that as the evening unfolded and unfolded and unfolded, though in your head you prepare, like, okay, I'm prepared to go on, but to really hear your name and be going on, well, that's a totally different thing. So your name gets called into the 30, and then I think into the top 15, which we
Yeah.
compete
Yeah.
in an outfit, and you were about to go on stage, and our Mrs. Singapore, Audrey, she says something along the lines of, "You can't go on stage with those boobs." Those saggy boobs. And she ran and she found a random bra and threw it on you. And so you're on stage, wearing some stranger's bra. So whoever's bra you wear, Mrs.
Mrs.
Globe won in your bra.
Yeah. No, well, she says, well, it's either, I said, I'm not wearing that bra. It's not mine. She says, well, you're either going on TV with those saggy boobs or you're wearing this bra.
So the moral of the story is Mrs. Globes are beautifully flawed. They are beautifully flawed. Okay, another question. What was the last thing you did just for yourself?
I had a pajama day yesterday. Uh, yeah, I just stayed in my pajamas for most of the day. I didn't feel like doing anything. I just felt like watching TV all day, and I've been watching some really good movies lately. So yeah, I just felt like, today is a pajama day for me.
So, are you like a warm, snuggly pajama girl or a silky negligee pajama girl?
Well, I mean, I went through surgical menopause about 3 years ago, so I can't really wear all the snuggly, hot kind of pea. So definitely more sulk. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So more the sulk kind of.
Oh,
You
I think Rihanna froze.
yeah.
We're losing her for just a moment. So there she is. I think that she's back. Are you back with us, Rihanna? Yeah, you're back. Good. Listen, we have about 5 minutes left, and there are a couple of questions that I want to ask you. The very first thing is you are amazingly beautiful, and give us one beauty tip, global beauty secret um, that you would pass on to other women, because if you don't when you see Rihanna, she's flawless, and when I say that, I mean her skin is flawless, and uh, the best way that I can describe her is Rihanna always showed up looking like a first lady,
Oh,
and
thank you.
so you're always so refined. um, But you're also very silly in many ways, which I love. But behind that, all the refinement, there's that side of you. But why don't you
Mm.
give us just one of your many, many beauty secrets?
I think for me, getting closer to 50, you get to see the changes that your skin goes through. And if there's something that I've learned over the years is never to go to sleep with your makeup on, just to make sure that before you go to bed at night, take that makeup off, clogs your pores and just gives your skin an opportunity to breathe. So for me, I would say definitely just, some olive oil on a cotton bud or cotton pad and just wipe that makeup off and it'll do wonders for your skin.
I love it. Rihanna, I have a really important question that came in
Mm.
from Yvonne Vixen. How do you stay centered in the midst of chaos and the inner negative self-talk? That's a
Yeah.
good question, Yvonne. Thank you.
Yvonne, if I could say to you, something for me that's so important is my relationship with God. It's taught me not to focus on my circumstances. It doesn't matter what I'm going through. As long as I keep my eyes fixed on Jesus, and my spiritual relationship is so important, and making sure that I connect with God on a daily basis, and like I say, not focusing on your circumstances. I just have such a wonderful peace in knowing that whatever it is that I go through, He's working it out, and that keeps me focused. It keeps me at peace. It doesn't cause me to be anxious about things that I have no control over. So,
And I think that that's so true. One of the things, and Rihanna and I, one thing I love about our friendship is when we get together, we have very deep spiritual conversations.
mm,
And one of the things that I really have come to understand in my life, and it's given me such peace, is that if we think one thing, okay, I'm going to have a better life, and yet we feel the burden of our
mm,
past wounds, well, it's the
yeah,
burden of our past wounds that's going to navigate the next step as to what
mm,
enters our life. So we
mm,
really have to learn to say, not to abandon what you felt, because any trauma deserves a mourning and a
mm,
processing.
yeah,
However, to move beyond that point, we really must um, eh, feel that the future is going to be better.
absolutely.
Accept that the past did happen.
Mm,
Grieve it as much as
mm,
it needs to be grieved, but make sure
yeah,
that we allow space between the injury and the
mhm,
potential.
for sure.
And I think that's, and how we can begin to move forward. So,
Yeah.
well, listen, one last secret, and I could talk to you, of course, forever, Rihanna. And so do you entrust? So you entrust in yourself. It's not easy, but once it happens, you are relieved.
Mhm,
That's from Malta. Yeah, that was a comment.
mm.
Okay, as we have to wrap this up, and I'm so sorry we have to wrap this up. Leave our viewers, and you've had many who are sending hearts and loves, and you're gorgeous and you're amazing, and I'm just reading down the list.
Mm.
Leave with our viewers, Rihanna, one piece of self-love advice from Mrs. Globe 2015, the woman who, in spite of, stood up and
Mm.
became the most beautiful Mrs. in the world.
I think just to remember that you are worthy. For me, it took me such a long time to realize that each and every one of us are worthy. We are worthy of love, to be loved and to give love. We are worthy of happiness. We are worthy of everything good that God has in store for us. And just remember that you are unique and so worthy of all that this good life that God has for us to offer.
And I think that one of the most important things is saying you are worthy. The
Mm,
only person who can choose your worthiness is you.
mm,
That
absolutely.
it doesn't matter who believes in you. They can be your cheerleaders. And yeah, cheerleaders do help us if we need that burst, but they can't be our
Mm,
reliance. And
mm,
so we absolutely need to understand that at any time we can choose that gift
yeah.
of saying, you know what, I am enough, I am worthy. And
Mhm.
you chose it, and look what you're doing in the world. And just as we wrap up, Rihanna is looks like she's going to be one of our WIN facilitators down in South Africa, helping to
Mm,
run our recovery program called Reclaiming Me.
I'm
We're
so
really
excited.
excited. The main thing is just figuring out with all the things you have going on when that will be available. So all of our beautiful South Africans, if you can't attend on one of our other virtual classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to be led under the leadership of our beautiful Mrs. Globe 2015, who's going to be bringing the Reclaiming Me program down into South Africa. Well,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you guys shout up a few last things, and I'll read them to Rihanna because she cannot see them. Yeah, come on board. Very exciting. Wow, clap, clap, clap. Audrey, thumbs up. Yes, congratulations. Lots of hearts. What an amazing win facilitator. Oh, Rihanna, you are such a loved individual and you deserve nothing but the best for your life. I love you, my friend.
I
I
love
wish I could physically hug and kiss you, and I look forward to the time when we can see
you.
each other again. So beautiful to see women empowering each other. Tracy and Rihanna, you both wear God well. I like that. All right, guys, lives will be changed. Rihanna, you are very loved. And at
Oh,
that note, I think that I'm going to finish. I appreciate you all so much. We bid you well. Rihanna, will have you back because I know people want to hear more about your story and, of course, the launch of the book In Spite of, which is coming to you this summer. It's coming to you
yes.
this summer, so stand by. All right, last words, Rihanna?
Just thank you to you, the Mrs. Globe organization. If you have the opportunity to go and represent your country at this competition, it's one of the best in the world. In fact, the best in the world. Your life will never be the same again. After meeting Dr. Tracy and all the other delegates and the staff on site, and so I encourage you, send in your entry and prepare for your life to be changed.
All right. Thank you so much. Lots of love, Rihanna. Thank you to all of you. This is our wrapping up our episode of Self Love Diamonds with the Duchess and the Doctor, and you had the chance to meet our beautiful Mrs. Globe 2015, Riana Mooi from the country of South Africa. Lots of love from California and South Africa and the
Okay.
Mrs. Globe organization. See you guys next Friday.
Bye.